Okay. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell. And joining me, as always, for our Monday weekend wrap-up is Jason Cameron, fresh off his birthday weekend. How are you feeling? How was it? 3-day weekend. Must have been fun.
It was fun. It was fun. It was great to get the Friday off. It was great to see my friends, for them to set up what they did for a fantastic dinner at Smitty's Oyster House. Anybody that hasn't been to that, it's a new business that just basically opened up on Main Street. They have one on Gibson's Island. It is fantastic. I recommend it. It's got great food, great ambiance, great service. Fantastic. I had a great time.
Cool. Well, good to hear, man. Well, it's nice that they found such a good spot for you guys to go and yeah. So you were able to go out there. I heard it cut into your watching a March Madness a bit, though. You weren't able to see as much of the basketball that you wanted.
No, it did, but that's okay. That's okay. That's to be expected. And then also too, well, I had a lot of fun. So Saturday was a little bit harder to get through, but that's okay. That's okay. I survived.
Nice. So, well, there was a lot to break down tonight. It's going to be fun. Obviously, an amazing UFC that we get to talk about. One of the biggest and best fight nights ever. First time in 3 years that we were able to see an event from London, and the UK really put on an amazing event. Tons of UK fighters, and they almost all did really, really well. And it turned out to be one of those really, really special UFC cards.
Yeah, it was utterly fantastic. It was really good. And I think what made the card just stellar or over the top was the audience. Yeah. It was the fans. It was everybody that was in the stadium that night in England that gave the fighters energy. You could feel it, man. You could feel it through the TV. Yeah. You could. Yeah. And it was awesome to see. And you know what? It just collided in a perfect storm of just beautiful violence that we all got to watch and see. It was nice.
No, it was amazing. Yeah, really amazing energy. Wish I was there. I would have loved to see that live. The gate was $4.5 million US, sold out attendance just over 17,000 people. The highest grossing single sporting event in the O2 history, the O2 arena there, and the highest grossing fight night in UFC history. And that made Dana so happy that he ended up giving bonuses to all 9 fighters that got finishes before decisions. Pretty impressive, pretty wild. I haven't seen Dana be this generous in quite some time.
Well, you know what? I like the fact that he was, because it just gives fighters a little bit more incentive to say, you put on a great show like that particular show, you will be rewarded. That's basically what he said. If you put on a great show, you put on a great fight, I will reward you.
Yeah. Michael Bisping was there, and a lot of guys were saying, he's the reason why the sport is so big in the UK. And him and Dan Hardy were kind of the lone guys for many years, being the big representatives of the sport there. But man, has it ever evolved? And is there ever a lot of super, super talented UK fighters across all weight classes, women, men? It's great to see the sport just evolving so much, and some of these really top fighters coming out of there.
Yeah. And it's not just the men, it's the women as well. And it's fantastic to see that the globalism of MMA is really coming around. Like you're seeing it from everywhere. It's not just North America anymore. It is everywhere, and it is fantastic to see, because the more skilled fighters you have across the globe, the better the competition, and that's what we all want to see.
Dana was saying that he wanted Leon Edwards Kamaru Usman title fight to be the main event for this card. He wanted it to be a pay-per-view, but when that fight fell off, he's decided it had to be a fight night. But he was able to replace that fight with a lot of really good ones. And we had the main event with Alexander Drago Volkov against Tom Aspinall. Aspinall, a very big up-and-comer. Not a lot of hype behind him, but he really delivered an amazing performance. Great to see some of these heavyweights that don't just go out there and try to knock your head off. They actually have a submission game, and he took it to the ground and pound, and then was able to get the submission. And unfortunately, Volkov is probably going to be on the shelf for a while because he didn't tap very when he should have, not early enough.
I was kind of looking at it going, ooh, that doesn't look good, because you don't, basically, number one, you don't see that submission too often anymore. The straight arm lock, arm bar. Like you just don't see that too often. And then when Aspinall managed to get it, he was keep working it. I'm like, ooh, that's looking like that could get it. And then he sunk it in. And I'm like, so he's not going to tap? You're not going to, okay, there goes his elbow. And you could see it pop.
It popped, yeah.
Elbow pop, man.
Yeah.
So it was, and then also too, you could tell that it popped by Volkov's agonized screams. I'm pretty sure that seemed like it was loud.
Yeah.
It screamed very loud.
Yeah, well, in such a loud arena too, you could really hear him vocalize his pain. And this is a sport that you can't try to be the hero and say, oh, I never tapped, because this could really mess him up for a really long time. It could be a long recovery from an elbow that gets that badly dislocated.
Oh yeah, like it's for me, clearly, if I'm a fighter, you got to know it's just kind of not worth it to be the tough guy, to be the guy that goes out in your shield. Unless it's a choke, then that's just you going to sleep, and that's kind of nice. You're just kind of going, no, I'm just gonna go Betty Bye for a bit. But if it's an arm bar or a leg lock or a heel hook, man, tap right away, because do you want to be on the shelf and not earn any money then for the next 6 months? I don't think so. That's not a good look.
No,
I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah,
Monetarily, not worth it.
We talked about gambling a couple weeks ago, and you said you don't get into it too much. I don't either, but I do love DraftKings, and I was able to put together a lineup in my DraftKings. I want to tell you about the 6 fighters that I put on my lineup. I had Aspinall, I had Pavlovich, Arnold Allen, Jack Shore, Ilya Topuria, and Paul Craig. All guys won. I made 2.5 times the money that I put in, and it was just awesome. I was able to really figure the lineup out. Some of these guys were underdogs, and I was able to pick them all, and it was nice making more than 2.5 times my money on Saturday.
You're a smart bettor. You're a smart man. You went with for sure shots. Although I'm sure Topuria's fight must have gave you a little bit of angst. You were like, God, I hope he still pulls it out. Which he did.
Yeah, Jai Herbert looked pretty good early. Yeah, with that head kick and knocking him down. Yeah, I didn't think he was going to survive that, but he sure did. He's a tough guy.
Yeah, he is a tough guy. And also, too, the one thing that the analysts were saying during that course of that fight were, if you notice, though, the odds aren't changing on Topuria.
Yeah.
Even though Jai Herbert was dominating, but Topuria is super tough, and he's been known to come back.
Yeah,
and that's why odds never.
Can't wait to talk about him a little bit later. Him and Paddy Pimblett have quite the feud going. Let's talk about a little bit more about this card that almost didn't happen. Dana said he was almost going to pull the plug on this because of the problems in Russia. Alexander Volkov being Russian. They had a few other Russian fighters on the card, and he said he almost pulled it completely and moved it to Abu Dhabi so they would be able to have it. The fight with Sergey Pavlovich and Shamil Abdurakhimov and Nikita Krylov almost didn't make it. They had Timur Valiev, a lot of guys on this card from Russia and from Ukraine. And he said, yeah, he was just pulling his hair out because things were not seeming to be able to come together, but he finally did pull it together. And he said one of his favorite cards of all time, and he's so happy it came together.
Oh yeah, of course, man. Like, first off, I couldn't even imagine trying to put together a card when, you know, like there's a war going on and some of your fighters are involved in said countries. Like, I couldn't imagine how you even go about doing the logistics of that, where it's like, well, do you think you can get in that underground like tunnel and get to Ukraine? Can you guys do that? Can you guys get out of there? Can you do that? Like what the hell, man?
Yeah,
like it's nuts. It's nuts.
Yeah.
But with the fact that at least you know one thing about Dana White, he's a pit bull, and he's gonna keep his nose to the grindstone. He's just gonna keep pushing until he can't push anymore. Yeah. And so because of Dana, because of the way that he is, he managed to get this card together, and well, it couldn't have gone any better. He was definitely rewarded for his efforts. How about that?
One of the top promotions in Europe is called KSW, European-based promotion. They canceled all fights featuring Russian fighters and have done so ever since the war started. The UFC has tried to keep it going and put it together, and we're really happy that they did. He has said now that they didn't have a UK card planned for the rest of the year, but he's promising that they will have another card in the UK this year. He said he's going to move mountains and he's going to make it happen. Both Paddy Pimblett and Molly McCann were trying to get them to bring it to Liverpool. They say that they could sell out the outdoor stadium in Liverpool where the soccer team, the football team play there. But he said he doesn't think he wants to pull that off because he doesn't like outdoor shows, and he's really worried about being in the UK. It's so rainy there that it might be a really bad thing for them to have an outdoor show. But he said he's going to try to figure out how to have another card in the UK this year. I'm glad that it impressed him that much that he wants to come back so soon.
Well, yeah, of course. How about this? If all the fans that watched that particular UFC or had the opportunity to watch it are impressed, then yes, he should be impressed as well. And he should want to go back because we weren't there. We could only feel it through the TV. But I'm sure if you were sitting in the stands and you were watching those fights, you felt that. And that's what he felt. Where he goes, oh man, I really got to give my British fans of the UFC a little bit more than just one show. I got to give them more.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that he appreciates his fans. I appreciate that.
I'm really happy. And I can't wait to hear them make an announcement. Okay. So Tom Aspinall, huge win, 12-2 in his career and moving right up the ranks. He called out Tai Tuivasa. I think that would be really fun. He said, hey, we drink beer in the UK, not just Australia. We'll have a beer drink off after I beat you. Let's do this. And I love the call out. I think this would be a hell of a fight.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful thing because for myself, I respect both fighters. I think they're both on their way up. I think it's a perfect matchup. I think it's a no-brainer. I think it's an absolute no-brainer because now those two guys fight. One of those guys is now going to challenge for the belt.
Yeah.
You can honestly just say, whoever wins out of those two will now challenge for the belt. And I think that's a perfect matchup, and that's something that should happen.
Speaking of the belt, Francis Ngannou underwent successful knee surgery over the weekend. He got full ACL reconstruction and MCL repair. That puts him on the shelf for 9 or 10 months, they think. This was the same doctor who operated on George St. Pierre before, Conor McGregor, many of the top fighters. So when Dana was asked post-fight, what will they have an interim belt? He said, yeah, if he's on the shelf for that long, we're going to have an interim belt in the meantime. And then we'll see who can come together and put that together. So it looks like we'll have an interim champion while they wait for Ngannou. And you and I know that Ngannou might not ever fight for the UFC again, the way that things have gone negotiating wages. So who do you think we're going to see in a fight for the interim belt?
Ooh, that is a good question. I don't think I can say this, but I almost want to say this. I almost want to say, why not make it Aspinall Tuivasa? But they're not ranked high enough, so it can't happen like that. That's a great question, man. I don't know. I don't know what they want to do with that. I don't know, because I really want to see that fight. But right now, you could probably say that Tuivasa's in the top 5. Aspinall is going to be close.
Yeah.
If just outside of out of the top 5, he may just take Volkov's spot at 6. So I don't know. Man. I don't know. But I'm looking forward to seeing what they do.
Yeah. Well, I think Cyril Gahn might be in the running there. Obviously, Derek Lewis, and we possibly might see John Jones might be able to get in there. There's former champions, chomping at the bit, might want to get a shot. So yeah, I think Aspinall's it's a little too soon for him to get this shot. He's definitely moving up the ranks heavily, but I think he needs 1 or 2 fights before we see him go for the title.
Yeah. Or maybe it could be like Tuivasa versus Gahn, something like that. Tough. That's a tough one, because like a lot of those top fighters in the top 5 anyways, we've kind of already seen their stuff. So you're almost kind of tempted to see some new blood, but who's really deserving? Like you want to still give significance to those that are in the top 5, right? So that would be a tough quagmire to navigate.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what they do. But the heavyweight division's getting a lot of exciting fighters, a lot of guys that aren't old, aren't sort of plodding, trying to just land that one big shot. This is exciting to see a bit younger talent and blood in there that have great ground game as well. And I think it's exciting time for the division. Let's talk about the co-main event. An absolute amazing performance by Arnold Allen. He has a longer winning streak than the champion in the division, Alexander Volkanovski. He has been really just knocking them down every time they put him in front of him. He hasn't done it in spectacular fashion until now. Dan Hooker moved down in weight, and he might regret it, because he took a bad beating. Arnold Allen looked phenomenal on Saturday night.
Arnold Allen definitely looked phenomenal Saturday night. It looked like he did what Khalil Roundtree did in the previous UFC, where he just decided to bite down on the gum shield and start throwing heavy, and still keep throwing heavy until his opponent fell down. It was awesome to see. We've never really seen this version of Allen just kind of go for it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, and I know I've said this to you before, I did question Hooker going down a weight class, because then all of a sudden, sometimes you can get a little chinny because you've lost something when you go down and you deplete your body like that. And I think for these last 2 fights, and it really hasn't worked out well for him. It hasn't worked out well for him at all. We know how tough Dan Hooker is. We know he can take a shot. Man, Allen just kept coming. And it wasn't like he didn't get clipped, because he did get clipped.
Yeah.
Hardcore.
Still
didn't matter. Still got back on, kept swinging.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was just a massive unleash of fury and violence. And, you know, it was just like you couldn't blink because you're like, oh man, Hooker's going down. But Hooker looked so tough. I couldn't believe all the shots that he took and just was trying to weather the storm with his face. You know, he wasn't using his hands to block the shots. It was just face. Hooker is tough, but where does he go from here? 4 losses in a row, 3 in another division, goes down, takes this loss. Do you think they, you know, maybe give him somebody that, you know, he might be able to get a victory over, or are they going to just feed him to the wolves again?
A softball, huh? Give him a softball fight. They might, but I think more to the point, he needs to really focus on what weight division he wants to fight at.
Yeah.
I think that's the more important question for him, because I don't know. Personally, I've always thought that when you deplete your body like that, I don't know if it's worth it. I really don't. I don't think the gains are significant enough for you to do that, for you to go through that. So I think that's one thing he needs to figure out first, and then figure out where he goes from there after.
Yeah. One great thing about Arnold Allen is that he trains out a TriStar gym in Montreal with Firas Zahabi, George St. Pierre's former coach. Great to see Firas still really training some of these top guys. And he really shed a lot of light that, you know, joining Firas in the TriStar gym was really one of the reasons why he's just shooting up the ranks, and his fight game has improved so well. Just love this guy, always have. Really got to know him well when he trained George St. Pierre, but great to see him still with elite fighters.
Yeah, it is great to see. And it's good to know that he still clearly has it. He's got the gift.
Yeah.
Because Arnold Allen was already a great fighter, and now he's just making him better, a lot better.
He did the call out of Calvin Kattar, which was awesome to hear. I think both of those guys together would put on a hell of a show. I think Arnold Allen will be number 6 ranked, and Kattar's number 5 ranked in the division. What a banger this could be.
Perfect call out again. You know what? We've been having a lot of guys do perfect call outs lately.
Yeah.
I think that's a fantastic call out. I think, again, no brainer. I think you make that fight happen.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the lightweight fight that preceded that one. We've got a new star on the horizon. Sean O'Malley has been sort of the American version of this guy, but this young up-and-comer, Paddy Pimblett. Paddy the Baddy came in this lightweight division and got 2 really quick finishes. And man, he's a fan favorite. Dana White said that during the face-offs on Friday, when they get the fighters together, the heavyweight battle got about 120 views on his Instagram, and Paddy and Vargas got 1.3 million views on his Instagram. So he said he's already moving the needle. He's already really, really popular. And yeah, the people are just eating this guy up. He's sort of the new Connor, the new Sean O'Malley. Yeah, what can you say about him?
I like the haircut. I like his Beatles haircut. That's what I can say. That's what I love. And I saw many people in the crowd have the wigs. I guess we call those Pimblett wigs. Pimblett wigs. Yeah, man. It was awesome. It was fantastic to see. Yeah. So I like what he's all about. I like his energy, and because he's very positive, and he's got that like British quirky. You know what? I have no idea what I'm talking about, but he's got that weird kind of British accent that I actually like too as well. Most of the time, I don't even know what he's saying, but yeah. he's got that it thing. He's got that it factor, man, and I look forward to seeing him in tougher competition now. Yeah. We've seen him in the UFC, but now let's see him get tested here. Let's see him against tougher competition.
Yeah, Kazula Vargas, tough guy, but 1-2 in the UFC going into this fight, 1-3 now in his career. So maybe that was a bit of a softball. that Dana threw his way. Yeah, let's see him against tougher competition. Him and Ilya Tupuria got into the huge fight in the hotel lobby earlier in the week, and Tupuria, after his fight, was just really screaming out, "I want this kid, I want him, give him to me." Pimblett said that, "Nah, I don't want to fight this guy, because a lion doesn't concern himself with the opinions of sheep." That's what he said. He said, "Nah, this guy doesn't deserve me." He said, "No." Tupuria said, "The only way this guy fights me is if Dana White puts a gun to his head and forces him all the way into the cage and shuts the door." And so a lot of war of words between them, a lot of fun. I don't know if they'll match him up, but yeah, it's kind of funny how much guys really want to take him on right now.
Okay, this is what I'm going to say. That line about a lion and sheep, that is beautiful. That is classic work. And if I'm Taporia, that actually makes me so much angrier. So much angry. Like, I would be raging out of control. Because even when he was in his post-fight scrum, and he was supposed to talk about his win over a very talented Jay Herbert, none of that actually happened.
No.
All he could talk about was Patty Pimblett and a lot of curse words, like a ton. like most of his post-fight interview was literally just curse words.
Yeah.
To the point where Bisping just goes, "Okay then, all right."
Yeah. I'm out of here. Thanks. See you later. We couldn't hear any of that. It got beeped out. So see ya. Yeah, that was pretty funny. Yeah, he's angry. Pimblett has really got under his skin. I heard one of the reasons is he called him a stupid Georgian, and he called him he said, "Russia kicked your ass and you guys deserve it. You're a bunch of idiots there." Yeah, he got really angry at him attacking his culture and his team. But yeah, I think this is gonna last for a while. I don't see the UFC putting them in the same cage against each other right now, but this could last for a few years, and I think they'll finally fight.
Yeah, and especially if they keep winning. Taporia won, Pimblett won. If those guys still keep doing this,
yeah,
eventually they'll intersect at the top somewhere.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Pimblett also said that he doesn't really want to fight ranked fighters at this point unless they put way more zeros on his contract. Same thing that Sean O'Malley has said recently. They're paying me too little amount for me to fight guys, that are that high ranked. If they want me to fight high ranking guys, add a couple zeros. And smart businessman, he might as well say that, if that's the case.
I think that actually might be a way that a lot of fighters might start leaning towards, which is, okay, so we're thinking of you fighting, let's say, a 14 or 13. It's like, yeah, you know what? I was thinking of fighting this guy. It's
Right,
like, oh, that's not what I was thinking. It's like, yeah, but that's what we were thinking. That's what my team is thinking.
Yeah.
Because you can honestly say, especially if you're new to the UFC and you have a certain something, but you're just still trying to get up the ranks and you're not trying to go overboard too quickly, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, Pimblett did get rocked. He got hit, but he kept going. That hip toss takedown was phenomenal, and him getting in that rear naked choke really quick, forcing the tap. It's great that he's not just all flash. Trying to win fights just with his hands like Conor used to do. He actually has a ground game too. So, I think he might be legit.
Yeah, I think so too. Like so far from everything that I've seen, like he looks very well-rounded. Yeah. A lot more well-rounded than Conor did when he first came in, to be honest with you.
Yeah, exactly.
So I look forward to seeing more though. I want to see more. I want to see more from this guy.
Yeah. I don't have too much to mention about the welterweight fight between Gunnar Nelson and Takashi Sato. Gunnar Nelson, hadn't seen him in a few years. Great to see him get another finish and another submission. he ended up a decision win, but I don't know. It was just kind of a grind out fight. Nothing too spectacular, in my opinion.
Okay, so this is what he did. Took Sato down, grappled him, got his back, tried to go for a submission. Second round, took Sato down, got his back, tried to go for a submission. Didn't get it. Third round, took Sato down, got his back. He just kept kind of doing the same thing over and over again on repeat.
Yeah.
So it was a very dominant win on his part. Sato probably could have done himself some favors by not engaging and trying to keep his distance a little bit better, but he didn't do any of that.
No.
So yeah, then he lost.
Exactly. Yeah. It was rinse and repeat, like you say. 3 rounds of the same, and good on Gunnar, but nothing too spectacular. A lot more fights that deserve our attention and our breakdown. Why don't we talk about the women's flyweight fight? Probably the most brutal knockout I've ever seen in women's UFC MMA fighting. Molly McCann set up Luana Carolina for an amazing spinning elbow that just absolutely rocked her, knocked her out for a long time. And yeah, she's another fighter that the fans just absolutely love. And she's got such a great personality. I could see this girl going really far too.
Yes, she has she's just got a dynamic personality. Like, I love the fact that she went in with her teammate, with her, I guess it's almost like she's like the older sister to Pimlet, celebrated in there with him. I love that. I love that. She just got in there with him. And she has a certain something to her. She's a bulldog. She's a fighter. And I loved in the first round, she just swung for the fences. But like just like hook, 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 hook. She just kept throwing hooks. Like, it was awesome to see.
Yeah.
And that's kind of her spirit. That's who she is as a fighter. And that comes out with every fight that she has. She's coming for you.
Yeah.
And you know. Carolina managed to hold her off until the third round, where she couldn't hold her off anymore.
No.
And that was the perfect setup for a spinning elbow.
It started reminding me of a lot of the UK boxers that I remember growing up seeing. A lot of these guys grow up on tough streets. They fight outside of pubs. They're, the girls and the guys are really, really tough. And we hadn't seen that much in mixed martial arts, but now these fighters have evolved, and we're seeing super tough guys and super tough girls that got great personality, a lot of fun. Fans love them. Both of them, both Patty and her, jumped over the cage, went over, hugged Dana White. Dana seemed to be super thrilled with that. He even let Molly sit down with him during Patty's fight, and she was up there jumping around, drinking and having a blast. They both just energized the crowd like nobody else. They were the 2 highlights for the crowd, I think.
Yeah, they were the 2 highlights, along with the main event, Aspinall, who is a little bit more subdued, but obviously incredibly talented. But those 2 are the Energizer Bunnies. Those 2 are what really, really revved the crowd. Yeah. And Molly's performance was dominating, to say the least. Dominating. And I also want to throw in, I was super impressed with the way that she was able to wade in, because Carolina definitely had the reach advantage on Molly. And so she had to literally do her Mike Tyson to get in there and then throw her hooks. I was pretty impressed by that.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just talk about the fight that kicked off the main card. You mentioned, we both mentioned a little bit about Jai Herbert and Ilya Topuria. Herbert looked really good early, was able to get a head kick to Topuria, knock him down, get him in serious trouble. I couldn't believe that Herbert wasn't able to finish it off. Obviously a big, I would think 10-8 round there. And then second round, Topuria just came in, absolute massive knockout, left to the body, and then an overhand right that just perfect shot to the chin that just immediately shut Herbert down. And it was just a walk-off KO from there. It was really, really impressive after taking quite the beating in the first round.
Yeah, he did take quite the beating. But the one thing that we know about Topuria, he's rugged, he's tough, and he's undefeated. So, you take all of those things into account. Oh man, he's a tough one to get out of there, period.
Yeah.
And Jay was super close, but just not enough. And then so in the second round, when Topuria finally cleared the cobwebs a bit, yeah, he came after him. Pretty hard.
Yeah. El Matador, great nickname. Michael Bisping asked what his game plan was, and he said, "Oh, just to come in and take his head right off." And he goes, "Yeah, I guess you kind of did. Yeah, so good job." His call out was Mark Zuckerberg. He said he's been banned off the Instagram, and he's the biggest bully in the world. Actually, no, that was Pimblett that made that call out. He called out Pimblett. Pimblett called out Mark Zuckerberg, said he had an Instagram account, got completely banned, and he called him. He wants to fight Zuckerberg for getting him off Instagram. But yeah, that like we said, Topuria and Pimblett, I can see that happening in the future.
Yeah, I think that's a fight for the future. I don't think that's a fight for any time soon, but definitely a fight. As long as both fighters keep doing this, yeah, that fight will happen at a later date. I believe.
See it. Yeah, we're gonna see it for sure. Okay, let's shift to the prelims. We had Mr. Finland, Makwan Amirkhani. He had lost 3 in a row going in, was fighting for his job. Mike Grundy lost a couple in a row and is fighting for his job a little bit. Obviously, the other thing that was big was his dad was diagnosed with terminal lung cancer, and he was cage side. They showed a lot of shots of him and his mom sitting there. But Amirkhani still has a job, was able to get a big submission win very early on. And it's sort of sad because there was his dad. He really wanted to put on a good performance for him, but was unable to after Mr. Finland took the victory.
Yeah, you know what? When he shot in, it was sloppy. Yeah. And that's how he got caught immediately. Like when he shot in, his neck was out there. Amirkhani wrapped it up and didn't let it go. Yeah. He just kept subtly adjusting until finally he locked in the anaconda choke. And then it was all said and done. It was all over. So great win by Amirkhani. Quick win by Amirkhani. Grundy should learn from this.
Yeah. Amirkhani's got the second most submissions in featherweight history behind Charles Oliveira. So a guy that you don't want to make a mistake like that with, and that anaconda choke. Yeah, like you said, it was arm triangle at first, and then it was trying to go for a rear naked, and then he just ended up spinning and finally getting that, sunk that in, and yeah, that was all she wrote for Grundy. Okay, talk about the heavyweight battle between Pavlovich and Abdurakhimov. 2 Russians battling each other. Pavlovich had been on the show for a while. He hadn't fought since 2019, but he came in. They were former sparring partners, and so they knew each other. So that first round, they were really cautious of each other. They were really, not wanting to get into any deep waters, but that massive right that just dropped him, jumped on him, and then just kept landing shots to the side of his head until damn overhead he pulled him off. But yeah, Pavlovich didn't look like he had much rust after such a long layoff.
No, man, he looked good. His boxing looked crisp. Combos looked fantastic and accurate. And he definitely looked like the stronger fighter in this bout. Like he looked like he had the power. He was bringing the strength. Even though, Abdurakhimov, oh man, I think I kind of got that. Even though he looked very strong himself, Pavlovich definitely looked like he was the stronger fighter, for sure.
Yeah. I think Shamil is getting a little old. He's 40 years old, been in a lot of battles in his life, and I think yeah, he might be on the way out, but yeah, it's definitely massive win for Pavlovich, and good to see him back after such a long layoff. Okay. The fight that preceded this one, light heavyweight battle between Nikita Krylov and Paul Craig. Paul Craig, 6 wins in a row. And man, this guy's submission game is just ruthless, relentless. And you do not want to go to the ground with this guy. Absolutely brutal. And yeah, like look out world. Paul Craig is lethal. You want to stay standing no matter what with this guy.
I've said it before. I'll say it again. Do not go to the ground with this man. Even when you feel that I'm safe, I'm in a safe place. I feel real good. Oh my God! All of a sudden, you're in a triangle choke. You're in an arm bar. You're in a like it's in a split second. It's a half second, and then he has you. Yeah. Half second, man. Like I went back. Krylov is a great fighter, by the way.
Yeah.
He's ranked number 9 for a reason. He's a great fighter. He didn't have time to even react when that triangle was put on him. He did not have time to react. That's how fast Paul Craig put it on him. And that's amazing to me.
Yeah.
That's utterly amazing.
It was so quick. It was one of the quickest I've ever seen. Just yeah, sunk it, boom, it was done. He was out of there. It was super impressive, and Krylov is no joke. The only thing about Krylov that really shocked me and surprised me was he's a Ukrainian. They wouldn't show his flag, and they wouldn't announce what country he was from. Bruce Buffer just didn't even say where he was from, and they didn't put any Ukrainian flag up. So Dana White said he requested that. I'm going to look into that a bit more and see if I can find out why.
That's a little odd because like why? Like you think that he'd be proud of that, like, especially at this point in time. So like, like I would be more like if Volkov had done that, then I get that. Because like, you're just like, oh, well, we're the aggressors. We're not really seen as being really good people at this point in time. But for Krylov to do that, that's kind of, okay.
Yeah.
Weird. Odd.
Paul Craig has now the second most submissions in the light heavyweight division, next to Glover Teixeira, the champ. And he called out Anthony Smith. He said, Glasgow, June, let's do it. I think him and Lionheart, that would be a hell of a fight. Yeah, I like the call out there too.
I didn't know UFC was going to Scotland. I didn't know that. Oh, wait, Paul Craig just made it happen. Okay, I get it. I think that's a great call out. And also too, Paul Craig actually has a point. I think at some point in time, the UFC should be going to Scotland for sure for a fight night or whatever. I think that definitely should be a thing that should definitely happen.
That would be amazing. Yeah, I'd love it. Okay, let's just try to fly through the rest of it. Jack Shore got a nice decision win over Timur Valiev. He dropped him a couple times in that 3rd round and was able to secure the unanimous decision. He just, looked like Valiev controlled some action early, but that 3rd round, dropping him twice really was the deciding factor, in my opinion.
Dropping him twice was the deciding factor. Almost got him out of there too, as well. Shore just looked great all around and improves his record to 16-0.
Yeah, pretty impressive. Yeah. Do you want to mention the women's strawweight fight at all? Anything jump out at you there?
I was a little bit surprised. This is the one thing I'll say about the McKenna versus Reed. Split decision. what are you talking about? Like, I'm sorry. I did not see that. I didn't see McKenna winning. Like, I don't know what that judge was watching, because Reed clearly won that fight, period.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing I will mention about that. That split decision was nonsense. It's bogus.
That's
Garbage.
true. Very, very true. Yeah, Reed was using her reach advantage definitely, and kept her at range, landing the harder, heavier shots throughout. Poppins got a late takedown, but I still think Reed won the rounds, even though she got some takedowns in the second and third round. But very weird. Yeah, I was shocked to see a split decision. It was wrong for sure. The fight to start off the card was pretty great too. This guy, Mohammed the Punisher Mokayev, is another very, very liked fighter in the UK. He's originally born in Russia, but raised in the UK, making his UFC debut, the youngest fighter on the UFC roster. And he came in and got a really super quick submission victory. It was lightning quick and very impressive debut for this guy.
Yeah, a very impressive debut. Hit him with a beautiful flying knee, locks up a guillotine choke, and then it was over. Yeah, that's you can't rate it any better than that. It's like, oh, okay, all right, so you're a thing, you're for real. That's good.
Yeah, this guy seemed pretty great. I was enjoying his post-fight stuff too, and he got the second fastest submission in UFC flyweight history. And immediately he yelled, "Hey, Uncle Dana, 50 G's, baby!" And I didn't think he would get it as the fight wore on. You sort of forgot about that opening fight of the night, but luckily he did get 50 G's. Like all the fighters did get on the card. $450,000 handed out in bonuses, by far the most ever in UFC history. And yeah, we're just thrilled that it turned out so well. We do love a lot of these fight nights, and being so early, it's hard for a lot of people in North America to tune in on time. I think you recorded it and watched it on Sunday, didn't you? Yeah. So I got up early and watched the whole thing live, but yeah, it's great that it turned out so well. All the fighters got paid, and yeah, we couldn't be happier that they're going back again this year there too.
Oh yeah, couldn't be happier, because if that's what fight nights are going to bring us every time they go to England and to the UK, well, then do it more often. Yeah. Do it more often, because that's what every fan wants to see. That's what everybody enjoys seeing.
Yeah. Okay, let's just mention next week's card. We've got a heavyweight battle between Curtis Blades and Chris Daukaus. Love the Daukaus brothers. Really, really fun up-and-comers against Blades, who's had a phenomenal career, has been right up top-ranked guy. What do you think we're going to see in this one?
Ooh, I think you're going to see Curtis Blades I know where he wants to take the fight to the ground, and I think Chris Daukaus is going to try to keep it on his feet. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think Chris Daukaus is probably, even right now as we speak, definitely working on his takedown defense.
Better be.
And yeah, I think his best chance of winning this fight is on his feet, and Blades' best chance of winning this fight is on the ground. So there you go.
Yeah, yeah, should be a lot of good fights on the card. Always good to see Matt the Immortal Brown. He's fighting Brian Barberina. Askar Askarov against Kaikar France. Flyweight fight that should be really fun. These two guys really give it when they get into the cage.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that fight. Two very highly skilled flyweights, and definitely different ways of attacking for both of them. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Matt the Immortal Brown. I always love seeing him in his vicious elbows, because that's what he does. That's what he does very well. Elbow you to oblivion.
This fight was this fight card was supposed to feature Jan Blachowicz and Alexander Rakic. it has been canceled, unfortunately. Was talking with our set wireman guy today, and he showed me a shot of Alexander Rakic with a 25X on a shirt that he was given, and a certificate 25X was on it. The USADA, the WADA, the WADA association that tests for steroids and performance enhancing drugs to these guys, has tested him 25 times in the past year. And so he's like, don't you think that deserves a certificate and a shirt? And so they made it happen for him. But yeah, sad to see. This fight would have been a hell of a fight.
That would have been a great fight. That would have been a great fight. And hopefully they just reschedule this fight for a later date.
Yeah.
Because I'd still love to see that fight.
And the fight to kick off, or the feature fight for the prelims, is Neil Magny, Max Griffin. This one should be one of the fights of the night as well.
Oh yeah, I always love seeing Neil Magny fight. It's been a while for him, and Max Griffin being a young gun coming up. This should be a very good clash of styles.
Yeah,
between the two.
We saw cage side Darren Till over the weekend, and he got a lot of notoriety. A lot of people were asking Dana White what they see for Darren Till's next opponent. And he said, I don't even know if this guy wants to fight. I saw him eat pizza backstage, drinking. I don't know if he's even into this anymore. But he's got into war of words with quite a few people, and especially Israel Adesanya. They had quite the war of words over the last few days. And also Darren Till ended up getting a chant going in the O2 Arena that was F.U. Uriah Hall, and everybody kept chanting that. I don't know if you heard that at some point, but yeah, he's trying to call out a few guys and get back to some relevancy.
Well, I guess that's the best way to do it. You know, like in your home country, in your yeah. So that is the best way to do that, to make some noise, make some pub. Also, too, I guess it kind of helps if the boss is like kind of calling you out as well. You know, like, so now the spotlight is firmly on you. Yeah. So now it's up to you and what you want to do with that. So I'm curious to see who they give him, who they throw him to. So and hopefully, as I do like Darren Till, hopefully he can get back on the winning track.
Yeah, let's hope so. Okay, in some other combat sports news, Triple G just announced yesterday, or today actually, I guess it came out, that he's suing Golden Boy Promotions. He says they owe him over more than $3 million for his fight against Canelo Alvarez. He's got quite the detailed lawsuit on why Golden Boy is owing him that money. And Canelo has sent Golden Boy packing, does not want to work with him anymore. It's pretty crazy how Oscar De La Hoya seems to be really pissing off a lot of current champions and great top fighters.
Not good. Things are not well in the Golden Boy house. That is not good, especially Canelo Alvarez, kind of top dog in boxing right now. Yeah. So that's one guy that you definitely do not want to piss off. That's one guy that you definitely wanted in your household. And now that he's left, that means that there's very much cracks in the system there. Don't know what he's doing, but I know that Golden Boy also has Bernard Hopkins there and a couple other really, really great, fantastic former fighters. So they need to get that house in order quickly, or else that house of cards is going to fall.
Yeah, because Canelo, it generates a ton of money. It was over 1.1 million pay-per-view buys for their fight, Triple G and Canelo. And if they both win their next upcoming fights, there'll be a trilogy fight between them in September. So if Golden Boy doesn't get it sorted out, he's missing out on a lot of money. There was $125 million generated for their last fight. So yeah, you want a piece of that action.
Yeah, it would be beneficial for him to figure that out. as quickly as possible.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Okay, why don't we turn to some NFL before we finish off with some NBA? Huge trade today in the NFL. Matt Ryan was sent packing by the Atlanta Falcons to the Indy Colts to replace Carson Wentz for a third-round draft pick. I'm surprised it was only a third-rounder, but upgrade there for the Falcons. And for the Colts. And the Falcons ended up turning around and signing Marcus Mariota to a 2-year deal with Atlanta. He was backing up Derek Carr in Vegas this past year. This does reunite him with the Falcons coach, Arthur Smith, who he worked with in Tennessee when he was there, when he had the best years of his career. But I would say a downgrade, definitely Atlanta, and an upgrade in Indy.
No, yeah. I would say that too. Even though Matty Ryan is nearing the tail end of his career now, but still, I would still say better than Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Better than Carson Wentz. So, and also too with the Colts, that team literally kind of only needs a quarterback. So I'm very curious to see how they fare for this upcoming season, because that's what they always needed, and they got the running game. So with that being said, it's not always just going to be on Matty Ice's arm. It's going to be the running game with a little bit of passing as well. I think this is a great move by the Colts. Great move.
Yeah. The Falcons also agreed to a 2-year, $10.5 million deal with running back Cordell Patterson. Last year, he had over 1,000 yards running and catching. He had 616 yards through the air, 6 touchdowns, caught 52 passes, 548 yards, and 5 touchdowns. So really good piece they had, and they made sure they locked him up for a couple more years.
Yeah. That was a smart move on their part. Cordell should be a part of their plans for a very long time going forward because he's an excellent player.
There has been a bit of a quarterback shuffle in this offseason, and one of the biggest pieces that finally made a decision was Desean Watson. This was done after our last podcast. He finally decided on Cleveland. So a lot of people that were in the running for him have had to make some shifts. And what do you think about Desean going to Cleveland? There is a possibility of him still being suspended and him not being able to be there the whole year. But was it a smart move for Cleveland?
What's going to happen with Baker? What about Baker? No. First off, I think it was a smart move. I think it was a very smart move. I think definitely an upgrade from Baker Mayfield, and kind of curious about what his suspension is going to be, since he wasn't convicted of anything.
Yeah.
So if he's not convicted of anything, then what did he do wrong again?
Yeah. The NFL has suspended guys before for just personal conduct policy, and there still is 22 civil lawsuits on the docket trying to get some money out of him at times, and the NFL, as I say, frowns upon guys getting in trouble like this, and they have a personal conduct policy that they can invoke a suspension on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, with that being said, yes, they are within their bounds to do that. I don't know if the suspension should be that long, though, even though it did take them take Desean Watson a year to figure all of this out. So I'm curious to see how long his suspension is and how much it will affect the Browns going forward. But at least he can put that all behind him. He's with his new team now, and I guess they're going to have to do something with that Baker Mayfield guy, because I don't think he's going to be a backup. I don't think he's going to put up with that.
I don't think so either. No, not going to happen.
Yeah.
New Orleans Saints came to terms with Jameis Winston today. $28 million for 2 years, 21 million guaranteed. I think this is a smart move. Bring him back. He played well in his limited time. He got hurt, but him and Taysom Hill, I think they're a good 1-2 punch.
Yeah, I think so too. I love that how they use Taysom Hill as a Swiss Army knife, and now Jameis Winston's the guy that really slings the ball around the field. Yeah, I think this would work for them and for the next season, and I'm curious to see just how effective it's going to be going forward.
He got $1.1 million the first year there as Brady's backup, and now he's getting 28 million for 2 years. 1.1 million he got in that first year as Brady's backup. Quite the upward trajectory of his career again.
Yes, quite the upward trajectory for sure. So it's good to see, because at first people were not high on him, but now that it seems that the Saints are, and they seem satisfied with his play. So good for Jameis.
Yeah, well, Tom Brady replaced Jameis after 30 touchdown, 30 interception, or 33 touchdown, 30 interception last season there. Tom Brady came in and took that team to the Super Bowl. So, yeah, it really showed that he needed to keep control of the ball and not throw it away to the other team. And I think he's learned his lesson. I think he learned a lot under Breeze. And, I think the Saints made a good move there. And, he should be able to help them win a lot of games this year. There's a big story that's just broke about the Dallas Cowboys and their owner, Jerry Jones. There is a big scandal about him that said that a 25-year-old woman has sued him, claiming he is her biological father. He supposedly paid her mother $375,000 to keep quiet about it and never divulge that he was her dad. And he hasn't been able to keep her quiet. She's went out to the tabloids and said that, she wants him to admit that he's her father. And I think she said he owes me a lot more than $375,000 to my mom. So.
Going for the jugular on that one. Well, Jerry, I guess that secret got out, huh? That little chestnut, huh? Oh, you little scoundrel. Yeah. So anyway, so he's gonna have to pay for that. That's going to be kind of expensive. I get where she's coming from. Here's why. He's a billionaire.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. And the Cowboys are the wealthiest franchise. They are valued at $6.5 billion, the most valuable sports franchise in the world. So yeah, he's a billionaire. His team's multi-billionaire, and she's probably going to get a lot of money. I don't know if she saw any of that $375,000 that her mom got, but I think she's going to get paid.
Yeah. I do like how he undersold that. Like that's actually your child, and that's all you're gonna give, huh? That's all that daughter of yours, illegitimate or not, is worth to you. Well, I guess she thinks she's worth a little bit more. Would you look at that? Wow. That's surprising.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's done a lot of really rough things. For some reason, he doesn't take the same type of villainous qualities as Dan Snyder does. Dan Snyder has, been a horrible owner, and this has been a terrible franchise. But Jerry Jones, there's a lot of things that he's done. He tried to get Roger Goodell fired. He had shown up in lots of photographs with strippers. He's been out there having fun. He threatened to bench any player and fire them if they knelt during the national anthem. He kept an executive. I mentioned this last week. An executive was on the payroll for 6 years after he was caught filming cheerleaders changing in their locker room. And this guy actually had photographs up the skirt of Jerry Jones's daughter, and he still kept this guy around. So very bizarre stuff in Dallas, and another quite surprising thing that just came out this weekend.
Here's the thing. Still not as bad as Dan Snyder. Still not as bad.
Yeah. Sure,
That's
true, yeah.
That's some pretty bad stuff.
Yeah.
But still not as bad as Dan Snyder.
Amazing, eh?
Yeah.
It's amazing. That's true. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, good point. Still not as bad as Dan Snyder. Yeah. Hopefully the league can get rid of Snyder, and if Jerry Jones keeps up this stuff, eventually him. But I was like, wow, I was just reading so many shocking things in these stories that came out about Jerry Jones. Okay, let's turn to basketball. Let's finish with basketball. I want to talk a little bit about the NCAA. Tell me, some of the things that have jumped out at you. For me, the biggest Cinderella team, this St. Peter's team from New Jersey. They beat number 2 Kentucky and number 7 Murray State as a 15 seed, only the third 15 seed to ever make it to the Sweet 16. Love watching these kids play, and one of the reasons why you gotta love March Madness is because these Cinderella stories can happen, and these guys are. I don't know who's going to beat them. They've been able to beat 2 of the top teams already.
One shining moment, Darren. One shining moment. Or for St. Peter's, 2 shining moments.
Yeah.
I love an underdog story. Everybody loves an underdog story. And with the fact that now these student athletes kind of do a one and done, the parity within the NCAA college basketball is enormous now.
Amazing.
Any team, as far as I'm concerned, can make it right to the promised land now. You know what I mean? Like any of these teams. Another one that I wanted to point out to you was in the Midwest Division, in the bottom half of the Midwest Division, Iowa State number 11 against Miami, Florida number 10.
Yeah.
That breaks everybody's bracket. Sorry. Nobody has that.
Nobody had those.
Nobody has that.
Yeah, no, that's amazing that both Miami and Iowa State were able to get through. That was a shocker, and blew everybody's bracket out. I do have a story about one guy. There was one guy that he correctly predicted 15 of the Sweet 16 teams. I think he's going to get serious money. Obviously there is not one bracket that was correct in the entire world, but this guy got 15 out of 16 so far. Pretty impressive.
What did he do? Did he look in his crystal ball? He got something. You know the future? You talk to God. Is God in his back pocket? Like Tom Brady has God in his back pocket? Is that what that guy did? Yeah, I think he did something like that.
Yeah, he might have. Yeah, somehow. What an amazing feat. Incredible. The only other upset that I really want to mention is number 11, Michigan. They fell down quite badly as the season wore on. Juwan Howard got that suspension for touching the opposing coach and getting into a scuffle there. Michigan really didn't finish their season off well, but they are number 11. They're going to have a tough go of it on Thursday against number 2 Villanova, but great to see a 15, 2 11s, and a 10 in this bracket still.
Oh yeah, man, it is fantastic to see. That's why you love the madness. That's why it's called March Madness, because it is maddening. It is madness. And I do love the fact that all is forgiven, Juwan, because you made it to the Sweet 16. Yeah, we know you punched that guy in the face. Yeah, you punched him pretty hard too. But it's okay. It's okay. You made it to the Sweet 16. You're good.
Everything's forgiven.
Everything's forgiven.
That's how sports is, isn't it? You do well on the floor, on the court, on the field, you're going to be forgiven for everything.
Oh yeah, man. You can do no wrong. What? I don't even think that happened. Did that happen? I'm pretty sure it did. We're good.
In the West Division, the top 4 teams made it through. There are 3 number 1 seeds still alive: Gonzaga, Arizona, and Kansas. So they still have to be considered heavy favorites to go far. There's 2 number 2s left: Duke and Villanova, and there are 2 number 3s: Texas Tech and Purdue. I'm really looking forward to some of the games on Thursday, but the games on Friday are really exciting. I'm going to just blast them off quickly who they are. Gonzaga, Arkansas, Thursday, first thing. Villanova, Michigan. Duke, Texas Tech. That's at number 2 against number 3. And then Arizona, number 1 against Houston, number 5. On Friday, we've got the other 4 matchups are number 13, Purdue against number 15, St. Peter's. They're from Jersey City, Jersey. I looked up them. They have a very small campus, not a lot of players. Really incredible what they're doing here. Number 1, Kansas plays number 4, Providence. Number 4, UCLA plays number 8, North Carolina. And the absolute Cinderella ball is number 10, Miami, Florida against number 11, Iowa State. That finishes off the Friday night matchup. 10 o'clock Eastern time, 7 o'clock Pacific time to watch that one. And then Elite 8 goes on starting on Sunday and Monday will be the matchups. Final 4, April 2nd and 4th. So this has been fun, man. I watched a ton of the games and I couldn't believe it. Like you said, parity's there. We are seeing a lot of guys coming out early when they're really highly touted and going to be drafted. So a lot of these really big name schools have a hard time keeping, the top guys always in there. They're always getting drafted and leaving. But the parity's never been more better than it is right now.
Yeah. The parity's never been better than it is right now. It's that's what makes trying to pick the perfect bracket pretty much impossible. Yeah. It's impossible now. You just can't do it. I'm pretty sure you couldn't do it in the past. You definitely can't do it now. Yeah. All right. So, and then that's why you love watching this March Madness, because these are young men that can be discovered in the tournament. They can give themselves a shot at getting into the NBA purely through this tournament.
Yeah.
I love this. I love this one.
It's so fun to watch. Yeah, it's awesome. I enjoyed myself thoroughly this weekend, and I can't wait for coming weekend for more games coming. Okay, let's switch to the NBA. Finish it off on the podcast tonight. Okay, we got to talk about LeBron James, the king, passed Karl Malone for second on the all-time NBA career scoring list. Malone finished with 36,928 points on his career. King passed him on Saturday night against Washington in the second quarter. The Wizards crowd gave him a massive standing ovation. He went over and hugged Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, former teammate of his, and he looked really moved how much the crowd acknowledged him. And he's second all time, chasing down Kareem. Probably will pass him, health permitting, next year, halfway through the year. Just more and more and more amazing accomplishments for this guy.
Yeah, LeBron. What can be said? What are the superlatives? Like everything that you can think of. Even when he came in, there was so much hype behind him. There's so much expectation. And what did this man do? He surpassed all of it. All of it. Yeah. He's the first person ever to have 30,000 points, 10,000 rebounds, and 10,000 assists. That says it all right there. Incredible. And he just has to keep playing, 1-2 more years, maybe even next. He's going to pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That's a mark that nobody thought anybody could pass. No. Ever.
No, it seemed untouchable, that record. Yeah, that was one of those records that you thought, no, this will never be broken. Kareem, 20 seasons and just, phenomenal up there and, top scorer 20 years in a row. And LeBron was never really known as a massive scorer either. He was such a great, all around player, really good at facilitating, really good at rebounding. Was never known as a top scorer in any season, but just consistency, keeping his body in top shape, still averaging 27 points a night. And it's just amazing. Just great to see somebody that dedicates themselves so much to a sport and so much to their body. And he's never really had anything that you can say super negative about the guy. He's just come to work, put on his hard hat, work boots, and just did it night after night after night for the last 19 years.
Yeah. And it's just it just shows his consistency of excellence. Night in, night out, year in, year out. That's what he is, and that's what he's done. And he's had to change his game as he's aged, but the excellence is still there. The want is still there. The drive is still there. And it's amazing to see that he's still getting it done, still putting up 50 spots every once in a while in his 19th year.
Listen to his numbers tonight. They had a 131-120 victory over Cleveland tonight. He had 38 points, 12 assists, and 11 rebounds. Triple double tonight. Yeah, just wow. You're just shocked every night when you look up at the score line and what he's done.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he had a massive dunk on his former teammate Kevin Love, who then put him in a headlock for that. His head was at the rim. His head was at the rim. Wow. I saw the replay.
Wow.
He can still jump through the roof 19 years in.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those fans in Washington are really lucky. They got to see that moment, and they also got to see earlier in the week Alex Ovechkin pass Jaromir Jagr for third place on the NHL all-time career list for goals. So now he's number 2 and all-time. No, he's number 3 all-time. So they got to see LeBron become number 2 all-time. They got to see Alex Ovechkin become number 3 all-time, and he's chasing down Wayne Gretzky as the number 1 goal scorer in NHL history. Pretty amazing week for the fans in Washington.
Yeah, very amazing week for the fans in Washington. And I'm sure they're very impressed and amazed at these athletes when they come in and they do things that are quite simply amazing. Quite simply amazing.
Do you think LeBron will ever surpass Michael Jordan in popularity?
You know what? That's a very subjective question. A lot of people would say that he might have already has done that already, right? Myself, different generation, old schooler. I'm always going to be a Jordan guy, always. Yeah. I'm sorry, LeBron. I'm a Jordan dude, all right? And now for the younger generation below us, they can see that if they're LeBron people, they have a very good argument for being a LeBron person, as I have an excellent argument for being a Jordan person. It's very subjective, very.
Yeah. And LeBron does plan to play a couple more years. He said he wants to play his last season no matter what. He wants to play with his son, Bronny. He said, and it doesn't matter about the money. I just want to go somewhere and play with him my last season. So I think Bronny's eligible to be drafted in the 2024 season. So he has to stick around a couple more years to make that dream fulfilled.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing that dad can stick around and play just long enough to see his son enter the league. And as a testament to his will, his determination, and his upkeep of his body that he's always done. Because nobody else can do that. I'm sure if Dwayne Wade could have done that, he would have done that too. His body did not hold up like that. So
no, that's true. Yeah. The Raptors have been on a really good run lately. Had won 6 road wins in a row. Came up against the Bulls tonight in Chicago, and unfortunately lost 113-99. Fred Van Vliet's been quite banged up lately and hasn't been able to play a ton. He did play tonight, but yeah, it's great to see the Raptors doing so well on the road. They have the I think the second best record on the road. I think Philly has the best, and yeah, still looking great there. They did, like I said, lose to the Bulls tonight, but I've been very impressed watching them and how great they are, especially on the road. It's been awesome.
Yeah, the Raptors, again, plucky bunch. They come to play. They do not give up on themselves, and they've been really, really good in a very, very difficult Eastern Conference this year. You got a lot of great teams in the East, and it's just going to be a dogfight when it comes down to the playoffs. It's going to be a real dogfight in the East.
Sure is. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, we mentioned it quite a bit last week. Look at the Heat are number one. The Sixers, Bucks, and Celtics are all tied. Same record, only 2.5 games back of the Heat. Then we got the Bulls sitting in 5th, Cavs 1 game up on the Raptors in 6th. And then we've got the Nets, Hornets, and Hawks rounding out the top 10. So it does look like the Raptors and the Nets will probably face off in that play-in game. And then the Hornets, Hawks will play in that 9-10 matchup. And to get the right to face, looks like the Heat or one of those teams up top. But yeah, it's a dogfight, like you say. The Hornets have won 5 in a row to get themselves in a great position, and 9th to at least have a play-in chance.
Yeah, and the Hornets have done great to get to where they are at this point in time, and I expect if everything stays the same, I think the Hornets definitely beat the Hawks in a play-in game. I think they're the better team at this point in time.
Yeah. Celtics are the team that's the most on fire, 9-1 of their last 10, 4 in a row. And they've been the hottest team since the turn of the calendar year. And look out, they have put it together. They might be the team to beat now in that Eastern Conference.
Yeah, they've been putting it together. Their defense has definitely come together, which has made this run possible. And the fact that Marcus Smart has been playing very good, intelligent basketball, being their point guard that they needed him to be, so that they could go on to this miraculous run. So, yeah, right now the Celtics are looking very, very good heading into the playoffs.
Turn to the West a little bit. Unfortunately, the Warriors were dealt a big blow with Steph Curry supposedly going to miss the rest of the regular season. The Warriors' health has been really troubling the last couple seasons. This year, I think Draymond, Clay, and Steph have only played together like 11 minutes or something brutal. But Steph on the shelf. I guess the only thing that might be good is that he'll be fresh going into the playoffs if he can get to 100% healthy.
I'm pretty sure that he'll get to 100% healthy. Like at first, we weren't sure about how the severity of the injury that he suffered. It doesn't look like it's actually going to be that bad as initially thought, so that's a good thing. They've come back down to reality a little bit, and that's because of the fact that Draymond hasn't been around for a significant number of games, which is kind of concerning as well. But he is back with the team. Yeah, and because of the fact that the Warriors have come back down to earth, a lot of the other teams have caught up. Like a lot of the other teams have caught up. It has become a lot tighter in the West than it ever was before, with the Grizzlies now catching them and leapfrogging them into the second position. But the Suns are, still super dominant. Yeah.
Yeah, what an incredible year for them. 58-14, 5 in a row, 8-2, 30-8 at home, and just 28-6 on the road. Just an amazing year. They are just, I can't believe it. Like last year when they went on that run, I think it shocked a lot of people. And but now they're really backing it up, saying, "Hey, we're legit. We are a contender for a championship again."
And if you look at their wins, 8-2 in their last 10, a lot of those wins are without Chris Paul.
Yeah.
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 And they're still getting it done.
Amazing.
That is super impressive to me. Super impressive.
Yeah. No, it's yeah, it's tightened up in that West, except for the Suns. The Suns are blowing everybody out, but it has tightened up for a lot of teams. It really looks like the Lakers and Pelicans are on a collision course for that 9-10 matchup, and the T-Wolves and the Clippers, possibly, maybe even the Nuggets might drop down to that 7th spot, but a lot of the other positions are sort of solidifying themselves. Love watching the Mavericks right now. Spencer Dinwiddie was a huge pickup for them, and I think that was a really bold, great move, and yeah, fun team to watch for sure.
Yeah, he's been paying massive dividends for them, and Luka has definitely upped his game quite a bit since he's been challenged by Jason Kidd. Yeah,
so yeah, man, yeah, I can't wait for this NCAA March Madness, as well as starting to get down to the nitty gritty in the NBA, and a lot of matchups are starting to show themselves what we're going to see. The NBA playoffs are so fun and just around the corner.
Yes, and I cannot wait to watch the NBA playoffs when they come around, and I am super looking forward to the rest of the March Madness this week coming up.
Yeah. Okay, man. Well, we actually had a lot better performance by our technical thing today. We didn't seem to crap out as much as we have the last couple of weeks, so I'm really happy about that.
So am I. Let's hope that this continues. Let's hope. Yes, we're gonna continue to keep working towards this being better.
Yeah,
as we go along.
But man, it was fun as always. Thanks so much for breaking it down. I'm glad we had such a great UFC to talk about, and a little bit of the other thing. But I'm sure we'll cross paths sometime very soon tomorrow, and looking forward to a great week ahead. Thanks again for doing this.
Well, thank you again for having me on every week, and I look forward to doing this again next Monday.
Okay, buddy. Cheers. Have a great night.
Cheers.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Okay. All right. Another great episode in the books. Thanks everybody for sticking through and watching and listening. I appreciate your support as always. I want to talk about support from our partners and sponsors. Anchor FM, the easiest place to make a podcast. Just go to anchor.fm and follow the details, and you can do what Jason and I do. Verbero, the hockey equipment and apparel company, industry leader in technology, performance, and value. V350 stick is a must-have. Pampas and Possibilities, get them to design great things for your home. Do floral arrangements and awesome things. Yeah, you just can't believe how much they could spruce up your home. And Forever Living, the aloe vera company for health and beauty products. Go to our website and purchase some of those products at very discounted rates. So thanks to you for all your support, and thanks to all our viewers and listeners. Hope you've had a great weekend and a happy Monday. Actually, happy spring solstice, spring equinox. I don't remember all the terms for it, but first day of spring. It didn't really look like spring today, but around here, but I hope it does in your neck of the woods. And great weather ahead. Anyway, love you guys lots. Take care of yourself. Keep checking out our website for tons of great content as always. CompleteSportsMedia.com or CompleteMediaNetwork.com. Love you guys. Take care of yourself. Bye for now.